I'm really looking forward to actually this next game and to see if Coca can continue on his ZVZ streak, because he's 3-0 right now from the games that we've casted, all ZVZ. Let's go ahead and head in there right now, Frodan.
On to Cloud Kingdom.
Cloud Kingdom, baby.
I like to call this 2-Racks Kingdom whenever I practice with my friends because, honestly, every Terran 2-Racks is on this map.
I don't.
Well, no, not you, but every Terran, every other Terran 2-Rack. Well, I don't either. So every other Terran except for us,
Boom.
Andre.
The NASL Terrans.
Seems to 2-Rack. No, it was really funny because I was telling my friend this, and like I told him, and then a few hours later, on the first match of MLG weekend, Puma 2-Rack Chef, and I was like, oh. Well, I think that just proves my case. And the reason why is not necessarily because Cloud Kingdom's a bad map, it's just because
Puma's
that's
a
what
cheesy,
I remember.
Cheesy guy, that's why. 2-Racksing. Who 2-Racks is? No, 2-Racks is actually phenomenal on this map. It's a little bit harder to take your third base. Well, I'm going into TVZ.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do that for another cast, actually. I was going to just talk about TVZ like crazy. Anyway, let's talk about this game. 10 pool coming out from Jookto.
Yeah. And that's because Cloud Kingdom is a little bit like Daybreak in the sense where you can feel safe enough to kind of go for a pool hatchery or even hatchery first. And at the same time, we've seen a lot of Zergs go for super greedy builds in ZVZ because they feel very safe with the Queen buff, Andre.
Oh, yeah.
But this is interesting that Jookto is going for a 10 pool directly off the bat in game 2. I'm gonna ask whether or not he's gonna send his drones with it to potentially just commit everything to it, and it looks like we will see a pool out of Coca, so that's very good for him. In fact, that should make Coca very safe against this.
You know, I don't know if we're gonna see the drones pulled or not, but if you are going to do a lot of pressure, go big or go home.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Go big or go home.
Go big or don't go to Season 4 at this case, because Jookto, this is his last chance in this qualifier. If he loses one more time, his run stops here. Now we're talking about that pool hatchery, which Coca is going to go for, but realistically, I think he's going to be okay because Jookto's now getting his first Zerglings out, but Coca should have his pool finished up momentarily and be able to get the appropriate defenses out. Yeah,
if you look back at Coca's game, you'll see a trend of him not really 15 hatching all that much. He likes to go pool before hatchery no matter what map it is. Yeah. Last game, he did it on Daybreak. The other 2 times against, who was he playing against? Oh my gosh, what was the
KDY?
KDY, that's right. On Daybreak and Ohana, he went pool first. I mean, these are clear indicators that he just does not like to 15 hatch. And I can understand where he's coming from, too. I'll go into that in a little bit, but for now, there is a little bit of Zergling action. Oh my god, both of them just running past each other.
Yeah, that was one of those awkward moments where you realize that you actually should be attacking each other, not saying hi. And a couple of Zerglings get a few shots as well because they were on a rally. And Coca sits very nicely. And look at this. Wow. Coca is able to squeeze out an extra queen because he went for a triple drone trick where he went 2 extractors and as well as an Evo chamber. Now he's able to really defend with just drones and a few Zerglings, playing very minimalist and get very far ahead doing so. That's actually kind of cool.
Huh. And there you have it. The queen pops out. That's really going to solidify his positioning, but it's not over at that natural. There's no incoming metabolic boost. It's kind of unfortunate. So Jookto just going to go ahead and reply with putting down his own hatchery. He is at a harvester lead, but don't forget that extra larva is pretty valuable.
Oh yes, especially early on, just snowballs out of control. But Coca did sacrifice a lot of his early ability to drone, but now he has 2 hatcheries and 2 queens. Our second queen's almost on the way, and when that second queen pops, it just allows him to double his production very quickly. And of course, Coca realizes how ahead he is. He has an overlord seeing the natural just going up.
Yeah.
And at this point, Coca just has to be very cautious because Jookto might follow with even more aggression or just play the same opposite spectrum, play super greedy.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful, though. Yes, Coca is ahead, but it's not by that far. As you can see, the harvester count just finally swayed in Coca's direction. He's the one that actually got ahead finally, but now they're even, and that's because there's been constant injects on this one hatchery a little bit earlier than his opponent. Remember, he got that 10 pull, so it's a lot easier to get all of his injects in as fast as possible, and he didn't really commit that many Zerglings to that initial attack. So when things are said and done, look at that. They're just neck and neck, 23 to 26, but of course, I'm sure there's a couple of drones that are incoming, and we are about to see some sort of Zergling harass, potentially. This might be just like preparing for any potential pressure.
You're saying Coca is the one going for Zergling harass?
Yeah, I thought he was going to, but no.
Well,
Yeah,
you see a Baneling Nest already done for Jookto, and he wants to do it very defensively, which usually signifies that he wants to play really greedy for the next few minutes and just really try to catch up that way. You can see Coca making a large volume of Zerglings, and he will have Zergling speed, and he hasn't really taken any further gases at this point, so yeah, just like you said, he could go for a huge speedling attack, but also incorporate some Banelings. Now, one thing that does come into the favor of Jookto is that he's able to use this double Spine Crawlers as well as double Queens. It's going to make it very difficult for Banelings to efficiently get inside.
Oh, yeah.
And Jookto sees most of this. At least he should have seen it with his Overlord. So
you know, this is almost, I want to say it's almost impossible for Coca to actually get this going right, just because the amount of gases don't really allow him to defend against this too accurately, but oh god!
Oh man, that was a huge detonation. Oh, he's gonna get 2 more Banelings. Actually 3. He traded 2 Banelings for 3. Great job from Jookto.
God.
And all of a sudden, Coca throwing away whatever advantage he had.
Yeah. No, he basically threw away the game. As you can see, I mean, he has switched over to drones, but when you look at everything, he's so far behind in his gas counts. That means the tempo control goes over to Jookto. He's the one that's going to be able to actually put pressure on with some sort of lair tech or potential lair tech. You always are a little bit scared that it's going to be some sort of Spire tech. So it might actually force Coca to be playing a lot more inefficient than he wants to be playing. From here, he still hasn't claimed his gases, which he needs to do ASAP.
I agree. And now Coca is moving out to take a 3rd hatchery, trying to see if he can sneak in those, just playing super greedy. You can see he's going to catch up on the drone count, but he doesn't have any development elsewhere. You can see Lair, Roach Warren, +1, all-star for Jookto as well, so he'll have that comfortable army advantage in the mid-game. And for now, I guess Coca will just have to play from behind, but I don't think he's in an unwinnable position though, Andre. I think
I think I overstated that a little bit. I was like, oh man, Coca's dead.
It's still gonna be tough because now Coca is the one that has to kind of be very wary. For example, Jookto will have that upgrade advantage, and he can produce a lot. Ooh, and that was again good trades for.
Yeah. You know, yeah, Jookto, I mean, he still has a lot of work to do before I can actually say that he's way ahead. But as I was saying, I mean, look how far... Nope, never mind. I was going to say look how far ahead his lair is, but it's not. Where is all of his gas going to?
He went to that +1, the Roach
roaches
Warren.
now.
Yeah, the roaches are coming out. Like, it's going to have an exorbitant amount of units compared to his opponent. And Coca's making Zerglings because he knows he wants to be able to pressure this 3rd. And his gambit is that if he can strike the 3rd and force it to cancel, he's going to be very far ahead production-wise. And Coca's going to try to go for this hatchery, but he's going to see a huge amount of roaches that are coming in just a second.
And he's not happy. Yeah. He's not happy because those are +1 roaches at this point.
Yes.
His opponent does not have +1. That means Zerglings are almost useless against roaches. They deal not a lot of damage. They don't have +1s for themselves. So you're going through 1 armor, and not only that, you get 2-shotted. No bueno. That's what we say in Israel.
Zerglings are never useless, Andre. That's my policy. As soon as I start playing Zerg, I'm going to make every Zergling feel special.
Do you know what? I actually
just
thought...
like I do with all my women.
Okay. Frodan.
What?
I lost my train of thought. I actually... Oh, okay.
You said something about Israel.
No, that was my troll. When I switched to Zerg, I actually said to myself, Zerglings are so OP, I'm going to show everybody, and I only made Zerglings. And they are really good, but I don't think you can only make Zerglings to win every single one of your matchups.
Oh yeah, not always, but this is good. You're able to snipe a couple queens, get inside, kill a couple of drones as well, and get a good scout of what your opponent is doing. Coca, you getting a lot of utility out of these Zerglings, but at the same time, he has to worry about his 3rd. Will he be able to hold against his massive roaches? I feel like Jookto has a huge advantage because of that +1, but at the same time, +1 will just finish in time for Coca.
Oh. Don't forget that Glio Reconstitution, that's going to constitute a lot, but he actually doesn't use it as much. He could actually just constantly baited that army back and forth, kiting it and doing a lot more damage just because you can get that surround a lot easier. Ooh. Here we go. The big engagement has started. Queens are going to help out for Coca, but this is not a good concave for him.
Yeah, but all his roaches are firing, but still, again, the fact is there's just so many roaches from Jookto. And now he's starting to hunt down these queens, which is going to significantly stifle his production. Coca now is no queens. He can't really keep the injects up, and that's going to take... That's a very far setback on Dre, and it's going to be really tough for Coca to even do anything. Jookto pushing his advantage, realizing the end can be right now. If he's able to take care of all these roaches, way too many for Jookto, as he is still up in the 20s while Coca is getting closer and closer to the single digits. And the reinforcement waves is going to be so much, and Jookto is still droning, preparing in transition just in case. But I don't think a transition is needed. Look at how much of advantage he has.
Yeah, and as you said, no queens out in the field really facilitates the reinforcements to take over. That's what's going to happen. Now drones are being pulled. That is the sign that you're going to win this ZVZ. Jookto, my man. Smashing face, taking names. This guy, no joke.
He's no joke at all. And at this point, he's going to have +2 in the next minute or so. And with that, he's just going to have an insurmountable advantage. His third has been up. He has a higher saturation. He's going to be able to get gases 5 and 6. Coca's tech is actually not too far behind, but he doesn't have queens, remember, so his larva counts has always been in the single digits. That's really rough.
On top of that, he's not mining gas.
You're right. He hasn't been mining gas, and he's
Dude,
trying to get
leave it to me
infestors.
to always talk about gas, okay?
Yep.
I will always be able to point that out to you. But at this point, yeah, I mean, now I can say Jookto is in an insurmountable lead. I mean, there's no way for Coca to actually come back from this. There it is. G and man with the hat.
GG.
Yes.
Jookto takes game number 2 and ties it up. Coca all of a sudden showing a couple. His decision making in the past has been really good or really poor. It's just one of those situations where it seems like remember on Daybreak when he did that huge attack and just lost like all of his hydras, and I was trying to say whether or not it was a bait. But at the same time, it just seems like he donates a lot of those armies and trades really bad sometimes. And don't get me wrong, there's moments where Coca just seems brilliant in his attack timing. But what really went into his mind? Can you understand what Coca was trying to do in that situation, Andre?
I think he was just frazzled from losing 20 Zerglings and 3 Banelings to 4 Banelings. I think, honestly, that's what it was. And from there, it's like, well, how do I actually play Standard against you? I have to find some way to come back into it. But he really was pressured that whole time. There was that roach time that came out that was like, oh man, I have to be careful. Not only that, the third base facilitated some sort of pressure from Coca. Coca really needed to actually put pressure on his opponent. Else, his Jookto was just going to get out of hand. And it didn't matter. Jookto was just actually really far ahead from that initial push or that initial defense to really come back into the game.
Well, game number 2 decided, and it's a tied series. We'll find out what happens. It's a single elimination, so next game decides it all, at least for now. This is the round of 64 of NSQ number 3. We'll be back in just a minute.